Hey, what's up, YouTube? So Ye just released the deluxe edition of Bully, his 12th solo studio album, if we count Donda 2. And it adds 2 new songs and like sort of corrects all the issues that the album had previously. So now that we have the complete edition of the album, I just wanted to come on here and talk about how I feel about this album as someone who's been a really big Ye fan for quite some time. I mean, I'd say, people can call this like corny or whatever, but I would genuinely say Ye's music changed my life. So I feel like I'm allowed to talk about this. Not that you're not allowed to talk about it if you're not a big fan. You're allowed to talk about anything you want. But I feel like I can do a full video on it and it makes sense. So first I want to say Bully is not like a regular album. I mean, no Ye album really is like a regular album, but I just want to say like first, Ye has very publicly gone through like a mental health crisis and said a bunch of insane, horrible things. And also a mental health recovery literally in the last like 2 years while making this album. And so because of this, part of me does like sort of just want to be happy that he's like in a better place now, which I am. But at the same time, no music should be immune to criticism. So I'm not just going to be like, well, he's happy and he's making music that's mostly not AI and it's not Nazi music, so it's good. Like, we can acknowledge that that's an improvement from anything he made last year, but also we can still criticize it. And the second thing, Ye obviously has been experimenting heavily with AI throughout the making of this album, especially early on in the process with both AI vocals and AI stem separation, which as far as the AI vocals, it's hard to tell what's actually AI or not at this point. Some are obvious and I'll point towards them throughout the video, but some are not. And I don't want to call like non-AI vocals AI, and I don't want to like accidentally praise AI vocals knowing they're AI, but it might happen. And that's, I guess, something we have to deal with. I think the most important thing is that we all know that there is AI on this album. And that should be established for everyone, I think, at the very least, Also, I will say there are some uses of AI vocals on this album that are actually kind of interesting, and it's very specific uses, and I'll come back to that later. And then the AI stem separation, if you don't know what it is, it's basically like technology that extracts certain elements from songs. So like you can put a song into a AI stem extractor, stem separator, kind of the same thing, and it will extract just the vocals of the song, or it'll extract just the drums or something like that, And I think that this is actually a great use of a modern tool that aids the creative process rather than taking away from it. And I think it's cool that Ye used it on here, honestly. And it fits Ye's classic style very well as well. Like, I can only imagine what like 2004 Ye would have done with a stem separator. Like, that's like crazy. And yeah, especially early on in Bully's development, I feel like the stem separation actually contributed to like a very cool, unique sound for the album. Let's take Preacher Man, for example. That's the first song we ever heard from Bully in 2024. One of, if not the first song created for Bully. And it's this drumless beat that samples this beautiful soul song, To You With Love by The Moments. And Ye does like a very classic chop of it and uses only the bass and vocals for most of the song.
I walk up to the preacher man just to take your lovely hand. I walk up to the preacher man just to take your lovely hand. And
it all sounds very sort of like haunting and drowned out, and it kind of feels like it's like echoing out in this huge space. And it sounds like that partially because of probably some like reverb they put on it or something, but also because the stem separation has like a unique effect that just does that, And there's this quote from Brian Eno, which is like one of my favorite quotes of all time, low-key. He said, basically, I'm not going to read the whole quote, it's kind of long, but basically he talks about how the issues with every medium become the medium's signature. So like, for example, CD distortion, the jitteriness of digital video, the crap sound of 8-bit, all of these are cherished and emulated as soon as they can be avoided. It's the sound of failure. And I think this applies here because it's like the weird drowned out, like kind of empty sound of stem extracted samples makes for like a uniquely dark kind of sound for this album. And I feel like that as much as it sounds imperfect, it sounds unique and interesting on this album. It sounds modern, you know? And Preacher Man is honestly probably maybe my favorite beat on the album. It is unfortunate that the song is kind of just ruined by the whole first verse being AI after 2 years, but I don't know. Lots of the more recently updated and created songs on the album dropped the drumless, stem extracted soul sample sound for a variety of sounds, but I feel like they've kept a certain minimalism and like a sort of grayness, which doesn't make sense. Gray is not a way to describe sound, but like this sound of this album is very gray, I feel like. Like, I know the album cover is obviously gray, so that's something, but like, I feel like the album cover is gray because the music sounds gray, you know? And there's like a certain darkness kind of to all the songs on here too. Like This a Must is a very hard-hitting sort of rage-inspired banger with ad-libs from Nine Vicious, but with a uniquely skeletal instrumental consisting of like just a few gritty synths, heavy 808s, drums, and this cool like beep snare and like nothing more. And I feel like that sound, obviously it has nothing to do with the stem extraction, but I do think just the whole style of this album comes from the emptiness and like minimalism of the stem extraction sound. The song Father has like a similarly minimal but kind of industrial instrumental with an energetic Travis Scott guest verse and this genius annotation by Gregory1205 on Travis's spoken word outro also added kind of a new dimension to the song for me, interpreting the song as like secretly kind of being about losing focus on your faith through getting caught up with other things in life. The really cool like surreal music video directed by Bianca Sensori also reflects this idea with how it depicts people in church doing anything but praying. And I got basically all this from the genius annotation. So shout out to Gregory_1205. Now I've said a lot about the production and soundscapes on this album, but a pretty important thing I haven't really addressed yet is Ye's performances. And there's actually a lot of good stuff on here. Ye goes in on seriously rapping in a way that he hasn't really done in a minute on a handful of these songs. Like the intro to the album, King, features Ye confidently reestablishing himself as a king of music as a whole and rapping about how he's kind of like self-awarely playing into this villain role because of how others have treated him. This song also introduces the concept of the album, which is basically Ye becoming a villain or a bully, if you will, but then reflecting on it throughout the album and then trying to improve with the help of God and his wife Bianca. I do feel like this concept could have been executed a bit better with Ye actually going into more detail about his struggles and flexing a little less on both King and just the entire album. But at the same time, I get it. Like, it is Ye. He has to kind of be confident and like a little bit egotistical on basically all his albums. And also I understand why he would want to keep some of the more detailed aspects of his struggle private. As far as Ye's raps, he also has a very charismatic, dynamic performance on the song Whatever Works that I really like over this classic punchy soul sample beat. I love that Whatever Works refrain that he does. Just before Whatever Works is Punch Drunk, which has a similarly great beat, but it also has some suspiciously AI sounding pronunciation in Ye's vocals. And again, I don't want to call something that's not AI. And it's very difficult to tell with this song, but I'm pretty sure it is AI. His pronunciation of words just sounds wrong. And it's so rough because this is one of the newer songs on the album. Like in 2024, hearing like Preacher Man, it's like, oh yeah, obviously that's AI. But with Punch Drunk in 2026, it's actually hard to tell because the AI is getting better and I hate it. And that's why it's like, it's kind of difficult to talk about this album because it's like, yeah, I said at the beginning. Ye also does a lot more singing on this album than you might expect. And I think it works really well on a few of the slower, more chill songs on the album. Mama's Favorite is this like nice futuristic ballad backed by these beautiful synth pads about how far Ye has come in his life against all odds. This song also has the second Nine Vicious appearance on the album. And he comes through with these surprisingly smooth and emotionally sung auto-tune vocals. I normally hate Nine Vicious's voice on his own music. I'm not a fan of Nine Vicious, sorry, but he sounds really nice here. Like genuinely, I really think he sounds great on this song. The song also ends with this nice little clip of Ye's mom telling him that he needs to stay confident, and I thought that was really nice because it is so clear how much Ye's mom means to him. Like that wasn't just a one album thing. It's on Bully, it's on everything, you know? Donda is in everything that Ye makes a little bit. The song Damn is another one of my favorite chill singing cuts on the album. The song's instrumental is just a bass line and dreamy synth chords on top, and Ye's verse on the song has some really interesting sort of abstract lyrics seemingly about his unpredictability leading to stress on his relationship. A really specific thing I like about this song is just how like tired Ye sounds, and that sounds like a bad thing. Like that's actually a complaint people have sometimes about Ye's music. He sounds too sleepy on this song, but this song I think it really works. Like the way he's like, damn, damn, damn. He sounds like he's like sitting down on the couch after a hard day's work. And I think it's fitting for this song that's like towards the end of the album where he's like realizing how much what he's doing kind of is impacting his relationship. Love the chord progression too. Now is a good time to address a pretty big issue with this album though, and that's the song structure. Pretty much every song on here just feels like kind of underdeveloped due to the song being too short and or just not having enough variation. Like Damn is just the one verse repeated 3 times and it's only a 2-minute song in total. Like it sounds nice, but it's not really like enough. And going back to Whatever Works and Punch Drunk, like their songs are both less than 2 minutes. And like as good as these songs sound, this issue keeps pretty much every song on here, even my favorites, as just good songs rather than being able to become great songs. They didn't really develop the songs enough, I feel like. Like Highs and Lows has this cool, mysterious, like kind of mystical beat, and one of the best choruses on the album with Ye like thanking his wife and maybe unintentionally his fan base as well for sticking with him throughout the highs and the lows of his lifestyle, behavior, and career. And that chorus is honestly one of the most memorable, like relevant moments of the album. Like that feels like it applies to him not only because of his bipolar, but also like he's had some of the highest highs maybe out of any person, you know? Like his best music and his best moments are some of the best ever for any like famous person. But his lows are also some of the worst for any famous person. But this song clocking in at 1 minute and 52 seconds, it just doesn't have enough to justify me listening to it often. I feel a similar way about the 1 minute and 32 second song Circles, which is the shortest song on the album and also probably the worst on the album. It has the like Wheat October 1971 sample that was famously also used in One Beer by MF Doom, and it doesn't really flip it in a way that's particularly interesting, and the verses on the song have these really awkward vocal melodies that just don't really hit, and the chorus is just like 1,000,000% AI. And weirdly enough, okay, my favorite thing about this song is low-key the way that the incredibly obvious Ye I says circles on the chorus. Circles, 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 circles. This is what I was talking about earlier, talking about how I kind of like how AI vocals are used a few times, because like it achieves this specific like inhuman, really experimental, honestly, like strange sound that couldn't be achieved with a normal human vocal. They had to use this weird like AI filter for it. And I think it is an interesting sound. The song still sucks, but that is kind of the most interesting part about the song. It's almost like it's like a Vocaloid, Ye Vocaloid. Another song I'm not a big fan of is the title track, Bully. It plays an important role in the album, being the peak of Ye's like ego and mania and craziness. Mania, with him delivering lyrics like, I wanna beat somebody up like a bully, and all the people swear my ego needs a repo, but I won't let go. And yeah, it is an important part of the album, no doubt, but Ye's vocals kind of just sound like corny on this song. It's low-key like a villain's theme and like a Disney musical or something, which maybe that's the point, but it just, I don't know, whenever I'm listening to it, I can't really take it too like seriously. Also, CeeLo Green's feature on this song is just terrifying. I don't even want to talk about it any more than I need to. It's too scary. Not long after the title track, we get White Lines, another song that is, in my opinion, very important to the concept of the album and the narrative of the album, and another one of my favorite songs on the album. It's about how Ye's wife provides stability in his life amongst the chaos, and that being with her is kind of saving him, and that his life is better when he's with her. And it's a really sweet song. It's a flip of Stevie Wonder's classic talkbox cover of the Carpenters song Close to You from the David Frost show, which adds like a whole new dimension to the song. Like the song has these watery keyboards and live sounding drums and even like the studio audience laughing that immediately puts you in the environment of like this dark TV studio where the spotlight is on you and you're in front of an audience. And I feel like the lyrics and the sonic atmosphere together make this song connect to Ye and Bianca's real relationship, because Ye is being vulnerable in the lyrics and he is being vulnerable as a person and like experiencing drama while basically the whole world is watching. As much as this song is like kind of lyrically like very sweet, you know, it's also kind of melancholic and like isolating, and it reflects like the low point Ye was probably at when he made this song that Bianca possibly saved him from to an extent. The outro is also really special. It's the other example of AI that I think is actually interesting, because it's AI put on Stevie Wonder's talkbox voice, and the AI is like unable to convey the proper emotion, and it sounds really weird, and I really think it adds to the song. I don't think it would feel right if Ye was singing this part normally. So the album ends in a weird way, to be honest. We get Last Breath with Peso Pluma. It's this Latin pop song that really doesn't fit the album at all, but is pretty catchy and fun. Like I especially like Ye's playful like "Kiss me mama, but you'll never control me" refrain. And then after that, we get this one here as the outro, which is this song that's like celebrating kicking the ego right out of the door and working on yourself to build a happier life. And it's a nice sentiment, and it's also got these cute little harmonies that I like and some weird like pitched up vocals. But overall, I think this is low-key one of the more boring songs, and the weird like arena rock outro is just like too much. Like I get why like they wanted to end it off on like a crazy moment, but it's just weird. It doesn't feel like a Bully song. It doesn't even really feel like a Ye song. It was also, before the Deluxe release, this song was 100% AI, so it's definitely a weird note to end off the album at. But because this is the Deluxe, there are now 2 bonus songs on the album. The first being Okay, not to be confused with Okay Okay or Okay Okay Part 2. And this song has this nice sample-based beat and a pretty standard but nice Don Toliver feature, and a high-energy Ye verse with a few cool flex lines like "I bet on myself when the labels thought I was a bag risk. The money that I had invested is doing gymnastics." And then after that, there's the song Mission Control, which has this really pretty chord progression and Ye singing about how he is calling upon the strength of a God greater than him. The song has a similar issue to Damn, where it's just like one section repeated, but thankfully, Tony Williams does come in on the second half of the song and do some really amazing harmonies to add some variation to the song. The Deluxe also added a Lauryn Hill feature to the song I Can't Wait, which sounds awesome, like Lauryn Hill on a Ye song in 2026, right? But it's actually one of the bigger disappointments on the album, because she's just singing the sample in like a way that doesn't really add anything. Like this Deluxe version with Lauryn Hill versus the regular version without Lauryn Hill, there's like not really a difference. Like there is a difference. It's a different person singing a sample, but like it doesn't really like change how I feel about the song at all. Anyway, in conclusion, Bully is a weird album for a number of reasons, and it's a mixed bag, but I do think it's got more good than bad. And it does a decent job showing how Ye has struggled over the last few years, but is improving. I'm happy for him that he is seemingly in a much better place than he was 2 years ago or a year ago. And yeah, I think overall it's a step in the right direction. I don't know when the next Ye project is going to be. I have absolutely no idea. It could be never, honestly. I wouldn't be too surprised if this was Ye's final album. It could be later this year, honestly. I don't know. Could be in 2 years. It's completely unpredictable. So I do appreciate the good songs we do have right now from Bully. Anyway, thank you so much for watching
Thank you
and
much.
listening to my thoughts on Bully. If you enjoyed, please like the video, subscribe, comment, follow me on other platforms, hype, all that would be greatly appreciated. And goodbye!